Hey, what's up, Amp? What's up, YouTube podcast, wherever you're listening? This is Snaps, a daily college football podcast that I hope you enjoy. I'm T-Bob Hebert. Yes, that T-Bob Hebert, former coaches team All SEC honorable mention, joined as always by QB1, Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, man?
I think when this thing drops, you may be watching this YouTube video and also watching SEC Network as Missouri faces South Dakota. I'm currently in the stadium right now in some suite overlooking the stadium, getting ready to call my first of two games this weekend. So I'm pumped, man. I get my first game of the season here in Missouri, beautiful Columbia, and ready to get the season going.
I don't know if anybody's ever tried to make Columbia, Missouri sound like Columbia the country, but hell yeah, it sounded sexy when you did it. I agree. That's what they're always talking about when they talk about the Colombian exports. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Football season's officially back. I'm super hyped for tonight. We talked about those games already, so we're not gonna do it on this show because also you'll probably listen after the Thursday night games. But I look forward to keeping you in the rotation on a laptop, maybe an iPad or some sort, and hear my boy call some Mizzou football, see what Eli Drinkwitz and company has cooked up, dude. How you feeling? You feel a little nervous, dude? I would feel, I'm not gonna lie. Sidelines, I would feel good about. Like, something about the booth is it's very intimate. Do you ever get nervous before this thing? Like, it's a lot of people to kind of be like, plying your trade live in front of.
I get nervous 10 seconds before the mics get hot.
Really?
Yeah, like I feel great. And then for some reason, 10 seconds before the mics get on and the producer's like, all right, you're on. Kind of like when Brum's like, we're doing that before the show. For some reason, there's that lump in your throat and you can't spit, you can't cough because you are essentially live as your play-by-play guy is essentially setting the scene, talking about the stadium. It views the mascot, the coaches, the team running out. And I'm like, damn it, I need to sneeze. I need to cough. I need to clear my throat. And at that point, you can't. So then you start sweating a little bit. How am I going to sound my first words on national TV? It's a little stressful, but I've been good so far. Knock on wood. It's somehow miraculously not croaked once.
You've been great. That's such a funny thing to think about, though, that I had never considered is if you're the play-by-play guy, because it's like football, right? You're nervous until you get that first hit in. And then once you start talking, then you're kind of like, okay, your adrenaline's leaving out a little bit. Like, okay, I'm in this thing. So what's weird, though, you've just like exposed me to that I never thought about before, which is if you are the color commentator, you have to sit there and wait for that whole monologue to be done. You're right. And like in that whole time, so you're staying, it's almost like when you be like a starter on the offense and kickoff is going down and those guys are getting their first nerves out of the way and you're just still waiting that little extra bit before it all gets underway. That's cool, man. Ooh, adrenaline. So your adrenaline gets pumping. When you hit the first commercial break, are you like, all right, let's go?
Yeah, then I just look at Twitter to see what people are talking crap about, how bad I sound and how
there's no way
biased toward one team or the other.
Wait, is that true though? Do you go immediately to x.com during the commercials?
I do look every now and then during the game, just because there are people who, and I do appreciate there are people who, if I mispronounce a name or say something wrong about a stat or a player, like there are people that are ready to rip you and let you know that you fucked up and you need to correct it. Like they are so ready to go. Like as soon as I mispronounce one little thing, immediately the mention just like skyrockets. So it's good though. Like I said, it keeps you on my toes and make sure that, because these fans live these teams day to day.
Yeah.
And I have a week to prepare for the game and do my best to make sure I know everything I can. And obviously we get a little bit more access because we get to talk to the players, we get to talk to the coaches. We get the ability to watch the legitimate game film, not just the TV copy. So we are well equipped and prepared. But once again, I'm not living these teams 365 like these great fans are. So I may miss a couple things that they know that I don't know.
Well, that's why I always, I mean, I see it firsthand, dude. Like I have LSU fans and they're always trying to like rally me into the mentions against the person. I'm like, guys, I don't give a fuck that he doesn't know this kid's last name for all the reasons you just mentioned. It's like a crazy Louisiana last name, and he just started reading about the team like a couple of days ago. Like, sorry, he doesn't know how to produce the third string wide receiver who made a nice tackle on special teams, whose last name is like Pontier or so. Like, it's like, I don't, kind of is what it is.
You
So,
know what?
well,
Where
good on
fans
you.
get really pissed off the most, which it cracks me up, is when uh the same like when two players wear the same number and someone makes a special teams tackle and like
Yeah.
we don't know which of the two players it was that made
Mm.
it, and then they go off like that wasn't so and so. Do you not know that both these guys? I'm like, yeah, we do, but like both of them play special teams and both of them are out there, so it's kind of hard to tell which one made that tackle because they're wearing the same damn numbers on different special teams units. Like it's like wow, but they get so fueled up by that one, and it's
No,
just like such a minor thing.
it's funny because I have suffered at the hand of that very mistake. My
Mhm.
redshirt freshman year, I was on kick return. I had never really played that much, and so this was my first time where I get into special teams. And about the third game of the season, we were at Auburn and Jordan Hare. They try a squib kick. Time slows down. The ball's hurtling at me like a knuckleball. I enter the matrix. I perfectly scoop that bitch high and tight. Bring it 13 yards. Lower my shoulder. 13-yard kick return. I felt as if I had won like the Super Bowl. It was incredible. It was the best football memory of my entire life. And so what we would always do is you play the night game, you'd fly home, and then you'd start drinking beer and watch the ESPN replay at like 2 a.m. So I'm fucking watching. I've been trying for 2 years to get on that field. I'm watching the replay. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna hear my name finally. I'm gonna hear my name finally. I was playing fullback all the time. So I had number 49 on. And well, I shared that number with defensive end Kirsten Pittman, who was a
Mm.
6'5" black man, a senior, very lean, very successful. Heard his name called plenty, ton of sacks. And they gave Kirsten Pittman credit on the call for the 13-yard
Oh,
kick return. And it
mm.
it hurt me. I mean, I'll never forget. I had my beer in hand. I was like, gosh, this is it. This is it. I felt like it's like one of those old sitcoms where like the struggling actor makes it. And he's trying to show all of his friends, like, guys, this is it. And then he gets cut out in the commercial. Like, yeah, that.
Mm.
So see, that's what's happening, Aaron, when you fuck
Yeah.
that up. So get it right.
I'm
Okay.
pissing off mom and dad is really mom, dad, brother, sister,
Yeah.
aunt, uncle. They're probably the ones in the mentions because they saw their baby boy or nephew or brother make a big play, and I didn't give him his due credit, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. 13-yard kick
Mm.
return. Never got to
That
play a
was
fullback. One time I was about to get in and we had a no lineman jump offside. I was in like lined up. And then another time, Les Miles called a timeout to take me out. Pff, bitch.
mm.
I got subbed in like a third and one or fourth one. I don't know. All right, let's get to these games, Aaron. Our opening comment of the day from YouTube. BB Bean says, thumbs up, Aaron Murray, for picking the Mighty Gators to win. Thumbs down, T-Bob Hebert, for not picking the Mighty Gators. Alexi727 says, nothing mighty about 6 and 7, to which BB Bean, proving his debate skills, says, you sound jealous, with an exclamation mark. Hell yes. There's no great comeback for you sound jealous, right? Because because that's an opinion. You're lobbing an opinion at someone. You can never, like, if I say you sound jealous, you can't prove to me that you don't. Because all I have to say is, no, you do. No, I think you're jealous.
Yeah.
You're jealous of, you're jealous of Urban. You're jealous of 2 national championships. You're jealous of all this stuff. So good job, BB Bean. Well played. Aaron, let's start with TCU, Colorado. Big noon kickoff this
Ooh-wee.
Saturday. TCU minus 20.5. And I think that's representative of how it's going to go down. I think TCU is going to roll them.
So the one big thing that worries me for Colorado, there's a couple of things that worry me. First off, you're playing in Dallas. It's going to be hot as hell. It has been one of the hottest summers I think I've ever been a part of. This is just across the country. And you are the big concern heading with Colorado is the depth concern. Like you rebuilt the roster, but what does that depth look like? And you look at TCU right now, and they have a new offense coordinator, and that's Kendall Briles. Kendall Briles was the offense coordinator for Arkansas. And for those who watch Arkansas football, it's up tempo. It's high pace. It's get to the ball, snap it, let's go. Get to the ball, snap it, let's go. Like there isn't a lot of time to be subbing guys in and out. So between the heat and this style of football that Kendall Briles is going to run for his first year there at TCU, I expect it can be very similar to what he did at Arkansas. They're going to wear Colorado down.
Yeah.
And the depth issue, I think, is going to poke its head third, fourth quarter. Plus, I do think there's going to be some sort of adrenaline rush, and it happens in a lot of big games where at times you can wear yourself out before the game even starts. Like I think for Colorado and Deion and a lot of those players, there's something to prove. There's a chip on their shoulder, and you can kind of wear yourself out before the game even begins. And that's in practice during the week, and that's Saturday leading up to this matchup. So I think depth concern is going to peek its head out at some point, like third, fourth quarter. I think that's when TCU can kind of run away with it a little bit. So that concerns me. But the big thing that I want to see, regardless of depth issues, of new players, I just want to see how this experiment works. Does this football team in Colorado on both sides of the football look like a unit? Does the offense work together as a unit? Does the defense work together as a unit? Or does this turn into essentially like a pickup backyard football game where 10 minutes before the game you start picking your guys on your team, let's go out there and see if we can make plays? Like, does it look organized?
Is
Does
that it?
this method of recreating a football team, can it truly be done in a 6-month, or is it just straight chaos?
Do you think you'll be able to see that though through what I
Yes.
still think is a much better team? And it's week 1, right?
Yep.
So I mean, though they should Colorado, that it should in theory get better as time goes on, like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I guess TCU to me, like, here's my deal with TCU is, again, I like Deion, pumped for Colorado. I just actually think TCU is really good, and I think that
Yep.
we continue to not want to give TCU the benefit of the doubt. And in this situation, I think I understand what the biggest fear is. And a lot of people think it's losing Quentin Johnson, Max Duggan, the 2 running backs like Kendra Miller. I understand why people think that, but I think what really scares people at the end of the day, or maybe what scares me, is that from the outside looking in, if you look at Sonny Dykes' resume as a head coach, this was an outlier year. He's had
Yep.
some pretty good years otherwise, but he's never had anything close to what he experienced last year with the Horned Frogs. Now, that said, my counter to that would be that TCU is a significantly better job than La Tech, Cal, and SMU,
Yep.
where he was previously, right? And it has a lot more inherent power. And this is where we get back to, we're always doubting them. And yet, my favorite stat about TCU, look up, in the last 14 years, half the time they finished in the top 7. And
Yeah.
that's with like 7 in the last 14 years in the top 7, and like 3 or 4 years in the top 4. So it's not actually like that outside of the realm of possibility for TCU to be able to reload. And then you look at, okay, they get Tommy Brockermeyer, the tackle, JoJo Earl, the receiver, Trey Sanders, running back, all from Alabama. You
Mhm.
get 4-star corner Avery Helm from Florida. You get Jack Best from LSU. You're,
Yep.
like you said, you replace Garrett Riley with Kendall Briles. Like,
Yeah.
these are all good
They did a
moves.
great job in the portal. I think, and that was gonna be one of my points too, is like we focused so much on Colorado because it was so extreme. But TCU went into the portal and got the pieces they needed to replace a lot of those
Yes.
guys. Like, will the production be the same? Time will tell. Like, how do those pieces fit in? But they're quality players that they brought in to fill specific needs where there isn't going to be this massive drop from what you saw last year at the receiving position, at the running back position. So that gives me confidence that this team could have another successful season. I'll go to back to you. Kind of, you asked me like, how will we truly see if Colorado is organized? And I think it's a couple things. I do think that there is a a point, especially at the offensive line, where you can see how does that unit work together? Is Sherrod literally running for his life the entire time? Or offensive linemen blowing protections where linebackers, going right between the A gap free? I think on defense, blown coverage. And you can always see too, I mean, we know it, like when guys are arguing and blaming each other and guys
Yes.
putting their arms in the
Yeah,
air, like,
that's a
what the
bad one.
hell? You were supposed to have the deep half. Like, that was your responsibility. So, like, to me, that would be the concern of like, yeah, that's a team that was trying to be, they try to build in 6 months and it just doesn't work. And you said like it will get better throughout the season, but if you're having big major issues schematically and communication wise in the first game of the season, that doesn't bode well for the rest of the year. So those are kind of the telltale signs. And speaking of that offensive line in Colorado, our boy that we kind of ripped the other day. Pull out my phone right
Who,
now.
the
Why am I not?
6'8" one?
No, Tom Luginbill
Oh, yeah,
sent me a
Lugan no
nice
chill.
long message, and he wants to jump
What?
on the show at some point to talk Colorado football.
Fuck. We can't go toe
Read
to
it.
we
Read
can't go
it.
toe to toe
Read
with
it.
Tom Luganville's
Read.
knowledge. He sits here and talks about like high school kids 24/7. He knows all these cats inside and out.
I mean, we got a long message.
Whoa.
I mean, I will tell. Let
Tom's
me say
ready,
it again.
baby. And
I
I
will.
made sure I told Tom too. I was like, Tom, I wasn't like dissing you. Like, I respect what you do. I just obviously disagreed with your take on this one. And he sent a long explanation of why it wasn't as extreme as what that clip made it out to be. But was a fan of the boys and would love to jump on the show to
Fuck
discuss at some
yes,
point.
Tom. Hell yes, dude. And to be clear, yes, Tom would run circles around me in general knowledge. I'm merely saying that you can't say worst roster and then say 2 NFL corners. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, no worst roster in the country is 2 NFL corners.
No.
But I would love to have Lugan. Damn it. Do you think he knows I called him Lugan No Chill? That's not bad. On the Colorado side of things, I'm hyped to see Shadur Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, and like obviously Travis Hunter, whatever, but Shadur specifically, because I was like, well, I know Shadur's good, but let me look at like his actual numbers, right? I mean, these stats are fucking crazy.
Yeah. He's a winner too, man.
Year, yeah, exactly. But his freshman year, he completes 66% passes, 3,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 8 picks. Okay, that's all very good. Then what do you love to see? Improvement. The next year, 70% completion percentage, so jumps that up 5 points. 3,700 yards, up 500 yards, 40 touchdowns, 6 picks. So 10 more tuds, 2 less picks. Like, those numbers are not going to carry over 1-to-1. And Tom is right that he's going to be running for his life a lot of time. But how much of that will translate over? That's what I want to see.
Do you think,
and he's maybe got what,
Erica,
like 2 or 3 losses?
If we polled 1,000 people, 1,000 college football diehard fans, what percentage of them are rooting for success for Deion in Colorado this season? Or people,
it might be kind of close. What?
What's that?
I'm about to say, I think it's kind of like 50-50.
Yeah.
It's one which is ideally the
because he's the
that's why we
definition
talk
of the new
about
football, because he has brought extreme change to the game of football between the way he created his roster. Obviously, they were the big movers that kind of started the domino effects of the death of the Pac-12 this season. I mean, they were the first ones that jumped and went to the Big 12. So, like, he's made monster moves in 6 months. So, like, are people like, hell yeah, like, this is new college football, we're all for it? Or, like, fuck it, like, this dude has ruined college football by the way he's created a roster and essentially started the death of a conference.
I mean, he really did. Prime killed the Pac-12. That's amazing. And also, like, what's representative is 50-50 is how much we talk about Colorado. Because, again, I think TCU is going to smoke him this Saturday. But we will see. Next up on the list, it's UNC. North Carolina versus South Carolina. It's going to be in Chapel Hill. UNC minus 2.5 here. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong, boys. And I think that this could just be my SEC bias showing through. When I look at this game, I've got for me, my immediate reaction is, okay, put up or shut up for South Carolina. And then I think about the UNC side of the thing, and I'm like, whatever. Like, it feels weird for UNC. I feel like everybody's really excited for the year, and I'm sure that UNC fans in particular are feeling a little disrespected, but everybody's like excited to see Drake May. Yeah. We think, we think Drake May is going to put up crazy numbers, but we don't expect Mac Brown to be competing for championships. Like, there's no great expectations thrust upon Brown, but we like Brown because he's doing pretty good at North Carolina. It just feels like there's no, like, it doesn't matter if UNC wins this game. At the end of the year, we're going to look up. Drake May's going to have thrown for 40-something touchdowns, 4,000 yards, and UNC will have 9 wins. Is that fair, or is this just my SEC vibe?
No, I don't think UNC is nearly as good as they were last year, and last year wasn't even a really good year. So, it's the Drake May show. You have a horrendous defense that was dead last when it came to yards given up per game in passing in that conference, and not a really good conference when it comes to defense anyways. You lose your top receivers, Josh Downs being a complete stud from last season.
Yeah.
And you have a new offensive coordinator. Let's not forget that. Their offensive coordinator is not Wisconsin. Chip Lindsey comes in with a new style of offense. So, like, this isn't going to be an offense that wants to push the ball through the air as much as they did last year. So, there's going to be a little bit more running. And even Drake May has shown the ability to run. It's like, is this game going to be lower scoring than what we are anticipating? I think, like, the over-under total score is like 65 or something like that. I think North Carolina is going to want to run the ball a little bit more to kind of ease these receivers into it. So I think Drake obviously is Drake, and he'll put up some good numbers. I think Spencer will probably put up better numbers because
no, that's a take. You think Spencer Rattler at the end of this game will have better numbers than Drake May?
I do think he'll have better numbers. I think he has better weapons around him. Juice is healthy. Trey Knox is healthy. And being around Spencer this offseason and talking with people in that staff, how much he's grown mentally and more secure with who he is as a quarterback. I mean, let's not forget 2 years ago, people were talking about this kid being a first-round draft pick. Like, there is talent there. And South Carolina has done a good job this offseason of surrounding him with some decent talent as well. Like, that's my biggest issue. Like, yeah, Drake is great. And I always talk about a quarterback can elevate the level of play of his receivers. But if you just don't have good receivers, it doesn't really matter. And once again, you have a coordinator that's going to want to run the ball a little bit more than last year for UNC. So, yeah, I think USC comes out with Spencer Rattler firing that pigskin against a really bad defensive backfield for North Carolina. Once again, that was dead last in the ACC in yards given up per game throwing with better talent around him. So, yes, I think Spencer's going to have a better statistical game in this matchup between the two.
Am I it's another weird situation, kind of like when I was making fun of Carson Beck for his Snapchats, where I still judge Spencer Rattler based on some of those QB1 clips or whatever that show was from when he was in high school. And the only reason being is that he just comes off like an asshole, right? But
Yeah.
then I have to catch myself and be like, well, I was an asshole. Every 18-year-old kid that I've ever met is an asshole. I see
Mhm.
them now and I just get like my blood starts to boil a little bit. So, like, do you think he's matured? I guess is what I'm saying. Because
Oh,
because
yeah.
that was a big knock on
But
him.
also, like, you
He
have to
was
understand
like
those shows.
and everything else.
You have to understand those shows, man. They're very
True.
different shows, but I'll compare it to The Bachelor
Yeah.
because my brother was a 2-time winner on The Bachelor. Only one in history, gonna be on his
Eh,
gravestone.
wait,
Uh,
wait. I remember watching his first season. He went back for a double dip.
he
I had
double
no
dipped.
idea.
He won for LSU graduate Andy Dorfman. He was
No, I
selected in The
remember that.
Bachelorette.
I
Yeah, but
remember
then he
that.
went to Bachelor in Paradise and got engaged on Bachelor
Oh.
in Paradise.
I didn't know he won
Anyway,
Bachelor in Paradise. I used to love Bachelor in Paradise. You
yeah,
know,
well,
Andy
they made him
Dorfman
look like
was Andy Dorfman dated all throughout college at LSU, dated one of my best friends, Ryan Miller. He's like my older brother
well,
back in the
anyways,
day.
back to the show. They
Yeah,
created a narrative that Josh was the
random.
villain. And Josh
Yeah,
can
I
be a little bit
remember.
of an asshole at times too. But like he would say things about one topic and it was completely false because he was saying that about another things. Like, let's not take, let's also take into account the editors of these shows. Spencer
Fair.
may have said one bad thing and they kind of say, you know what, let's make Spencer let's make him the villain in this show. Not trying to defend him
I
because he
mean,
could
no,
be,
no,
he could
I
have been
feel you.
Applebaum. But let's pump the brakes. I've heard nothing but good things about Spencer Rattler as a teammate,
Yeah.
as a player, all that. So
Well,
not
and
buying
that's what
that
I was
narrative.
trying to get at. That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
get at because I think a lot of people have seen that clip. And I think when he started to go through some struggles, those were all making the rounds again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, again, if you'd filmed me as in high school, I would have, yeah, thought it was so cool. All right. Okay, but I guess the overall point is here. I think there's more on the line for South Carolina. I think South Carolina is trying to. I mean, I think they're fighting for third in the East, but many people will tell you that they think they're even fighting for maybe even second in the East. And you're not going to be third or second if you can't beat North Carolina. You got them fifth.
I got them fifth. I think after 3, there's a battle for 4 between Missouri and South Carolina, which is crazy. I get it, but I really like Kentucky. I really like Tennessee. Um, you know, I like Missouri, and maybe it's because I've been studying Missouri all week, and I'm here, and I'm kind of feeling the energy. But I think Missouri is a good football team, so I wouldn't put it past
MIZZOU.
Missouri. Yeah,
What do
to be
they
that
do
number
well
4
though?
team.
Okay, real quick, little Missouri side journey
Yep.
here. Let's take the road less traveled. What does Mizzou do well from your research that's getting you excited?
Defensively, I mean, there's a defense that went from 33 points given up per game to 25 points last year. I mean, they bring a new defense coordinator, Baker, and
He was a beast at
we're
LSU.
it was great. I mean, they have 2 NFL corners on the outside. I think they have maybe not maybe. I think they do have a first round talent at the linebacking position. They got some good depth at the defense line. Like this defense will be nasty. We saw it last year. They're really good. I mean, just go back and watch the Georgia game. And then I think on offense, they've improved. The offensive line is mostly retained. Um, I think the quarterback's gonna be better. He played the whole last year with a damn Brady Cook with a torn labrum.
Oh,
He got that repaired as soon as
damn.
the season
Okay.
ended. Yeah, partially torn labrum. So he's gonna be a better thrower. He's a dynamic runner. I know they lost Dominic Lovett, but everyone's just super giddy, with Luther Burn heading into his second year, Mookie as well in the slot. And then the big time transfer they got from Oklahoma as well, Theo Weiss. So they got a lot of parts returning. Once again, a really good defense returning. I think Brady Cook's going to be better than he was last year. I think that was the big holdup, along with an offensive line that was a little bit struggling versus the run. They should be improved there. So, yeah, I think Missouri. Not forget, like Missouri
They
won
should have been
6
better
games.
last year. Yeah.
They should have beaten.
Shouldn't
They
have.
should have beat
Yeah.
Auburn. They missed it. They missed essentially an extra point to win it. Then they fumbled it in the end
I
zone
know.
in
I know.
overtime.
Yeah. No, it
So
was
that's a
awful.
win. They had Georgia on the ropes in the fourth
Should have
quarter.
beat Georgia.
A rule change versus Kentucky where they blocked the punt or it turned into a roughing the punter. Should have won that game. I mean, there's 3 or 4 games on the schedule, like literally 3 or 4 plays that should have gone their way, and they're an 8-win team. And we're thinking about them different heading into the season.
Sure. All right. Look, my boys' knives are sharp. Let's go. So UNC's the favorite, though. It sounds like you think South Carolina wins.
I do think South Carolina wins. I do. I think they're a better football team.
I'm with you as
We
well.
do a betting show. If we do a betting show tomorrow, I'm picking South Carolina.
I'll say this too. Shane Beamer's stock is so high right now.
Yeah.
He seems so likable. The energy's so positive. He's like a mixture of like Michael Scott and Ted Lasso. It's but guess what? Until you stop winning, then nobody likes that shit. So good luck, Shane Beamer. 76-8-5 first years. That's hard to win there. All right. Next, let's head over to a kind of a random matchup. Little Big 12, Big 10 action. West Virginia against Penn State. I say random. I was maybe not fully aware of the history of this series. But the bottom line in this game, Aaron, we can talk about West Virginia, but obviously we're here to talk about Penn State. The bottom line is Penn State needs to make a statement here.
Yeah.
Like this needs to be a Drew Allar coming out party.
Is it Allar or Allar?
I've always said Allar because
Allar.
but Jake's been saying Allar on our radio show, and so it's making me uncomfortable. Now I'm saying Allar. Yeah. I've always said Allar because when I read King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, you have to learn to the strength of your Allar is how you do magic, essentially.
Yeah. Whatever. Drew has to have a good game. I get it. Like there's a lot of excitement for Drew, but let's not forget that Nicholas Singleton and Allen at running back combined for 1,900 yards and 22 touchdowns last year. Like this is going to be an offense that still needs to go through those 2 running backs and a really good offensive line. So you look at West Virginia, they lose their best players at the defensive tackle position. They also were horrendous on defense last year too. So like for Penn State, like don't overthink it. Like, yeah, the fans want to see Drew go out there and wing it around and throw 4 or 5 touchdowns, and they can jump up and down to pom-pom saying, we got our quarterback. We're going to beat, Ohio State, Michigan. Pump the brakes. You have a really good defense. You may have a top 2 or 3 defense in that conference this year, one of the best defenses in the country. You have 2 of the best running backs in that conference with a good offensive line. Let Drew be the complement to the run game. Is just my message.
So you can lose to Michigan and Ohio State again? How's this any different for how you talk about Michigan? You keep talking about how Michigan, if they're going to finally beat Georgia or whatever, that they've got to be more willing to lean on J.J. McCarthy. Well, yeah, we saw what 1,900 combined rushing yards gets you, and it's beating the fuck out of everybody else except for Michigan and Ohio State. I want to watch J.J. McCarthy cook. I want to watch Drew Allar cook. And what's funny is you actually sound exactly like James Franklin, which means you're probably right, because both of y'all know more football than me. But, quote, here's a James Franklin quote from Wednesday. Quote, at the end of the day, I want him to continue to play like he did last year with poise and a really good understanding of how to manage the game. I want him to let the plays come to him because with our running game and with the weapons that we have at tight end and wide receiver, he doesn't need to force anything. He doesn't have to feel like he's got too much on his shoulders.
You know how much pressure's on this young kid already, T-Bob? And
I know.
I promise I never read that quote. That's just my opinion about the football team. I'm not trying to put the world on this kid's shoulders and say that you need to go out there and be an All-American as a young pup when you do have some support. I mean, I need him to have a good season. Like, yeah, if you're going to beat Michigan or beat Ohio State, he's going to play really good games. But a really good game doesn't mean that he needs to go out there and throw 5 touchdowns versus either of those teams. It just means he needs to be efficient. He needs to complete 70% of his passes. He needs to protect the football and not turn it over. And lean on that running game to give him those opportunities to push the field down the field.
That just all sounds like Sean Clifford, though, right?
Sean got a little reckless at times, and he has more ability when the shots are there to execute the big plays, but you can't force them.
Okay.
Like if there's a big play to be made, there's a better chance of Drew than Clifford making the big play.
I can understand that. Okay. Well done. You've opened my mind a little bit. One thing I don't know they're going to be able to change my mind on here, and I got to mention, I cannot believe that Penn State is wasting their whiteout game on this game. This feels like a tight butthole move to me, and I don't mean like in the workaholic sense where tight butthole like means like a positive connotation. I mean like it feels stressful to me. You got Iowa and Michigan coming to Happy Valley later this season, and you're gonna waste the whiteout on WVU. And look, I'm a fan of the or I'm a believer of the whiteout power. Like, I think it's actually some of that stuff can be gimmicky and not always work. I think when Penn State does it, I think it's intimidating. I think it's crazy. I think it has like an actual ability to affect the game. And so to spend it here, I mean, Iowa is a night game. It would have been perfect against Iowa, but
they only do one a year. Can we not do more? Can we not do more?
I think it's only one a year. If they do more, then it feels like it loses its luster, right? It's like you need a little
this
force
may be an
scarcity.
exception. You have to do more. You can't waste it on
you gave me a stroke saying the phrase whiteout power in the show. I thought I was going to go one different way.
I think there's a real power in the white out. Yeah, no. Well, okay, kind of in keeping with that, Brum, the one thing I do like about having the white out against West Virginia, what should the headline, maybe you'll know, what should the headline read if Penn State wins big? The wild and wonderful whiteout of West Virginia. Anybody remember that documentary? Wild and Wonderful Whites, West Virginia? No? You never saw it, Aaron? Did you ever see it? He shakes what? He shakes the pill bottle, West Virginia mating call. What are we talking? Okay, god damn it. Never mind. Fuck me. I like wrote that whole joke out before the show thinking it was gonna kill. And
I think the big question, T, is
okay, it's a movie. Wild and Wonderful Whites of West. God damn, okay, what?
No one don't gives a shit. Just it's dead. Does West Virginia rally around Neil Brown? Do they love their coach?
Fuck no. What are you talking about? West Virginia's horrible. They're going to start 1-4. Their only hope, they have a nice running back in CJ Donaldson. But I mean, what's he going to do against his Penn State defense? Now, I will say this. I'm glad because in the end, this will lead to the end of the Neil Brown era. But let's remember this because it's real easy to think of WVU as just being shit. This is not who they are. If they have a third losing season this year, which I'm guessing they're going to, that'd be their first time since 76 through 79. Okay. This is not who West Virginia is meant to be. And it goes beyond the football program. The entire school has bad leadership, money issues, whatever. But the point is like West Virginia is more powerful than this. And we just need the right guy to get back over there. Okay. So Penn State rolls. If they don't, then we're all going to be talking shit about James Franklin and Drew Allar, even though it's like, Aaron's going to be happy because he went like 15 to 20 and threw for 200 yards.
Hell yeah. That's all that's all he needs to do, man.
Yeah, no, he needs to do more than 50.
Take care of the football, Drew. Take care of the football, buddy.
Oh my God. Okay, then Sunday night, LSU, FSU. We've talked about this one a lot. I definitely have. I think this is my final read on it, Aaron. Superstars all over the place at all the most important positions in football. Maybe the one strength on weakness is Florida State's weapons against LSU's secondary.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I pretty much feel the on-field talent is equal. And so to me, I'm like, okay, well then Brian Kelly is going to push me into giving LSU the slight nod. If you're telling me it's Brian Kelly versus Mike Norvell, like this is why you paid Brian Kelly $10 million. It's not to go lose to Florida State 2 years in a row, right? Like it's not to lose to Mike Norvell 2 years in a row. And last year, the product looked awful game one, but that's okay. We can explain it away. 9 months. He had 9 months from when he took over a team that was decimated. 39 scholars. You know the whole story, right? And so that made sense at the time. I mean, 2 weeks later, it looked like a completely different team, like literally in terms of all the personnel changes they had made. But now the Brian Kelly process, which I have sucked the process down, like David Koresh Kool-Aid, okay? I am a firm believer in the cult of Kelly, but this is where the process has to prove itself.
Yep.
Prove that you've improved your team more than Mike Norvell has. Prove that even though you maybe have a weakness on the field that he does not, that you can overcome said weakness. Prove you can make Jaden Daniels as good as you think we think he can be, and prove that you're worth that $10 million a year, quite frankly. Like that's what's on the line here.
No, he's definitely the better coach. And you talk about the mistakes early on last season in that first game for LSU. Let's not forget, Florida State had a game before. They played week 0.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity to kind of work out some of the kinks. LSU, this was their first time with a brand new roster going against a team that kind of got those jitters out. I mean, that's why there's another game that we're not going to talk about, but it's kind of intriguing to me is Oregon State facing San Jose State this weekend. San Jose State looked pretty good in their week 1 matchup. Oregon State lost a lot of guys on defense, and they're bringing in a new quarterback in DJ Hughes. Like the power of being able to play in week 0 before a big matchup in week 2 is significant. And Florida State doesn't have that luxury this year. I'm not saying they do. Like they're a more experienced team this year, and they should be able to handle it fine. But that levels the playing field a little bit more than what we saw last year in this matchup. So I think LSU is slightly the better team. I think they're better. I think I do agree with you that Brian Kelly, you know how I feel about him. He's the better coach in this matchup. I think it's going to be it is going to be for a week 1 matchup with how much both teams are bringing back. This will be by far the most efficient, best looking game of the year, which I think I said this on the show. I believe how much different this game will look than it did last year, which was sloppy, ugly, so bad it was beautiful. This is going to be, I can't wait for Sunday night.
Aaron, we talked about it yesterday, but this is like, and I'm sure this doesn't exist anymore nowadays because of Instagram and everything, but this is like when you used to go away for the summer during school and then you came back and you're like, whoa, he got hot. Or like, whoa, she got hot. Like he's got abs now. She's got boobs. Like, what the heck, man? I'm still fat and I have braces and I'm very pale. And I'm trying to get 3 pubes. Like, what's going on here? They're no longer 6th grade T-Bob. They're like 9th grade T-Bob. Ready to fuck up the world. I mean, kind of, I guess. I don't know. 6th grade was an insecure time.
Hey, man, it's on Jaden, though. Like, this is, I've hyped him up. Everyone else has hyped him up. You got to go perform. Because I think Jordan Travis will perform. I think Jordan Travis, it's going to be hard for him not to. I mean, when you have
Jordan Travis was more consistent last year. Jaden had highs, but he was too inconsistent. Jordan Travis was very consistent by the end of the year.
But Jordan had a significantly easier schedule down the stretch. I mean, their schedule down the stretch was cupcake. And he didn't play too great versus Florida. I think he was like 13 of 30 versus the Gators last year, which was not
I think you're right.
A great showing at all. So he didn't play the level of competition week in and week out that Jaden did. So it's hard for me to believe that when you look at the running back and the receivers and the tight end that Jordan Travis isn't going to have a good game. It's if we truly think Jaden is a Heisman guy, and if you've improved with your anticipation and trust with those receivers, just like letting it rip, that's the key. Can the offensive line protect him? Yes. But if he still doesn't trust himself to throw the ball 15, 20 plus yards down the field, that's going to be an issue. And I think the biggest thing I want to see for LSU too is, can you find a running game where you're not putting the pressure on Jaden to have to do both? Because that is stressful as a quarterback. When you look up and your team isn't getting the job done running, then all of a sudden you kind of take that on your own to be the running back and the quarterback. If we truly want to see Jaden take that step as a legitimate thrower of the football, LSU needs to find a way to take the pressure off of him of feeling like he has to do both positions.
Yeah. And on that, I don't know what's going to happen. I know a lot was made of John Emery, the former number 1 running back in the nation, LSU 5-star, who was announced out for this game. But frankly, it doesn't really move the needle. Again, this is where I put on my local hat, right? Like Mason Smith, losing him, that's enough to nearly tip me over to thinking that FSU is going to win. Losing John Emery doesn't change much. Now, Josh Williams also being unhealthy, then you're kind of down to just Logan Diggs and Noah Cain, and that's not a great place to be running back wise for LSU. So we'll see. To your point, Aaron, about the Florida game last year, this might actually be the weirdest stat line I've ever seen. Jordan Travis was 13 of 30, but with 270 yards and a touchdown. So only completed 43% of his passes, but still averaged 9 yards per attempt on 30 attempts. He averaged over 20 yards of completion. Hey, when he did complete it, it went great. It just didn't happen as often as it needed to.
They had longs of 34, 25, 44, 29.
I mean, get him in chunks. Okay, Jordan. So at the end of the day, coin flip game.
Yep.
I have no great conviction. I'm just saying that I think Brian Kelly pushes me over the edge to the LSU side of the equation.
What is it? 2.5 still? 2.5 is where we're at?
Yeah. 2.5. I don't think I'm going to be gambling on it. Lost a lot of money on this game last year being overly cocky. Clemson, but hey, it's only Thursday, so who knows? Things could change. And then finally, week 1 of college football wrap up Monday night with Clemson and Duke. The football heads will tell you this is a sneaky good game here. And so I'm going to tell you it's a sneaky good game because why?
Yeah.
Because we all think Duke is sneaky good because we like what Mike Elko did. He went 9-4. Riley Leonard was really good as a sophomore quarterback to over 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks. But guess what? They're going to get their fucking ass beat by Clemson.
Nope. Duke has the better quarterback in this matchup. And listen, I'm excited to see
what?
I'm excited to see what Klubnik looks like with Riley at OC now and second year and the confidence and getting all the reps because DJU's gone. Like, I hope he proves me fucking wrong. I do. Go out there and do your thing, kid. But you still got receivers that also need to prove me wrong too. So you look at Duke, and I think the one thing that should give Duke fans confidence is not only how much Leonard threw the ball and how well he threw it last year, but how effective he was running the football as well. 13 rushing touchdowns. What was it? I mean,
I didn't. Okay,
yards rushing. He's an 812 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns.
I know he got in there 13 times. All right.
Like, if you want to mess up a defense,
have
a quarterback that can do both.
700
and
yards.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's the better quarterback of the two, and he's going to give Clemson's defense, which is really good. The goal is to hopefully give them some fits with the ability to incorporate the quarterback run as well. So I like Duke's defense. They're at home. Not that that's saying a lot because it's not like they have 90,000 people.
The Cameron Crazies. Only they're going to be outside. Let's see if they can bring it.
Bring the Crazies, man. I mean, you got, like I said, you got the better quarterback. You're at home. You got a lot of confidence after last year. You return essentially your entire football team. I mean, the majority of starters, like 8-9 starters on both sides of the football. Mike Elko year 2. I think this is going to be a great game. I think Clemson wins just because they're better. They're more talented. And I think that will prevail in the fourth quarter. But I think there's still a lot of question marks about what Clemson's offense can look like this year. They're not just going to line up and just steamboat them.
All right. Steamboat. Yeah. We talked about this yesterday. Malaphor is when you combine two colloquialisms. I don't know if steamboat quite, because you were thinking about, well, you could have been doing boat race, steam punch. No, boat. I think you're thinking like boat race, right?
Steamroll, boat race.
Steamroll and boat race. It is a Malaphor. Fuck yes, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank? What was it from Wedding Crashers? Motorboat. Oh,
steamboat.
That is something very different.
No, I actually understood it though. When you did like the, I knew what you were referencing. So I was thinking, I was like, yeah, you steamboat him. It was like, let me in there. Okay, so you would, it sounds, I know this is a gambling show, but it sounds like you would take Duke plus 13.
I would take Duke plus 13, yes.
Dude, I did not realize how much I missed gambling. Fuck, I'm getting excited.
I know. I don't realize how much I miss texting you my lines on Monday and having to hassle you on fucking Thursday to still put them in.
Look, I got you minus 1,400 odds on Carson Beck. So you're welcome.
So I've lost 200 now because it was 1,600 about an hour ago.
No. I'm saying when you wanted me to place bet, it was at 3,000 plus 3,000, and now it's at plus 1,600. So if you don't know about gambling, it sounded like I said I did something good for Aaron, but I clearly just said that I completely fucked him. Allegedly, if he was gambling through my account, which he is not, to be clear. No, allegedly he's not. I don't know. Is that illegal? I don't know. We'll see. Are we going to get like Iowa and Iowa State? Are we going to get in trouble here? Kirk Ferentz, culture problems. People are talking.
Culture problems on snaps.
I think God damn it. I hate going against you directly when you feel like you have a good read because you know more football than I do. But I think
it's so hard week 1 to gamble. It is so hard to gamble on week 1. This is college football with brand new rosters and new coaches and this, that, and the other. Like, to me, the hardest thing in the world to do is win week 1, even like the first 2 weeks of the season. Like, I don't start feeling really good till week 4.
Well, I mean, we don't have any film to watch, and we're not exactly like, we're not gonna like learn anything this week.
It's all shit Duke, like, I know what Duke returns. Like, I've seen it. We saw it. They returned their like entire roster and coach and coaching staff, and Clemson, got some changes. We'll see.
Now I'm already doubting myself. Oh, crap. Okay. Well, hey, it's going to be a very fun year of football and snaps. I'm so excited. I'm done with the work day. Gonna go get the kids from school, lock in for tonight, listen to Aaron, watch a little Corn Hub action, Florida, Utah. Oh, yeah, as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube now, Aaron flipping his camera over. See if we get that
Wait
color
for
to
it.
adjust
Wait
here in a
for
second.
it. Wait for it.
Oh,
Wait
look
for
at
it.
that. That is a
Yeah.
Mizzou's field looks stunning. Looks like a beautiful day out there, too. Oh,
Gorgeous
you know what
day.
I was going to say? Last thing, you know what TCU should do to Colorado? And I'm not joking. TCU should wear their white uniforms and make Colorado wear their blacks in that
Ooh.
heat. You will melt. I've
Ooh,
seen it
they
firsthand.
should.
We did it
They
to App
should.
State back in the day, and they fucking quit during the warm-ups.
They should.
They went inside early. Little
Good call.
4D tip. Okay.
Woo-wee. Wayne, look real quick. What is Dallas temp? I mean, it's got to be hot.
It
like
feels good here in
90,
Louisiana today, so I don't know. Like today, the
Yeah.
high was 97, which sounds bad, but it feels great. Whatever. YouTube.com/@volume.
Dallas, Texas on Saturday, 98 degrees high.
Yes.
And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is 100 degrees. It gets to 101 the next weekend. So it's going to be, goes back. It's going to be hot in Dallas for a team
That's
that
what I'm
ain't
saying. I'm not
Woo.
joking. I'm not joking. Make them wear their black uniforms. They're from fucking Colorado.
Yeah.
They're going to die.
They make you play in altitude. Fucking make them play in heat.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a great part about college football. It's like an RPG. It's like all my games like D&D that I love to play. Like if you train in the heat, you get bonuses to your skill checks when you're in the heat. If you're a fucking mountain people, you get bonuses when you're in the mountain range. Like my lungs going to be able to handle that. I'm not adapted to that, but I can suck down this fucking scorching hot tea steam that they call oxygen out here in South Louisiana. Fucking not burn my lungs at all. Well, we love you. And we hope that you enjoyed tonight's football and this weekend's football. And we're going to be recording a ton throughout the week. And again, after FSU LSU, Aaron's got a very exciting show with a couple of special guests lined up Sunday, which you definitely want to check out. We'll do Saturday night, Friday morning, all of it coming up here on Snaps, youtube.com/@volume snaps. Like and subscribe. Road to 2000. Y'all are killing it. Thank you so much. Podcast, rate, review, Apple, Spotify. You already know the deal. Thank you to AMP. Thank you to the Volume. Thank you to Ryan Brumley, Chris Tran, Pat Gunther, Adam Gracia, Danny Cardenas. Thank you, Aaron Murray. But most of all, thank you to the listeners. We love you. And we'll see you in the next episode of Snaps.